All right, so I recently visited one of the Samaritan communities in Holon near Tel Aviv.
Cool.
So, what's your opinion about Samaritans?
I haven't even thought about it.
What
too
is your?
much. There's
Do you hear opinions like?
no, there's so. I think there's like 1,200.
Even less. Yeah, very, very few.
So only when it comes to that, my opinion is it's too bad because I don't know, when you see cultures and when you see interesting, peoples basically being, I don't know,
Dying out.
dying out. It's sad. So that's the only thing I have to say. I'd like them to stay, as a people, but I know it's pretty hard because they're assimilating.
Would you want them to
They
be?
can't intermarry in these numbers, but it would be.
Would you want them uprooted from Israel, or?
No, absolutely not. No, 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 no.
How do you view them
It's
in?
amazing to have this kind of diversity. I'm not talking about.
You're not anti-diversity.
No,
I mean,
no,
that's a big misconception.
I love diversity.
Yeah.
Nationalists love diversity.
Just not homicidal people, we don't want
love
people
diversity.
killing us.
We want the world to have different nations and cultures and norms, and everyone to be able to be self-sustained inside their own countries, and everything is fine. No, the thing is that you have so many things that you could lose, and I don't want things that exist right now to just be a part
Like,
of history.
what do you know
and
about
then
Samaritans?
I don't know a lot. I know that.
Just say what you think you know.
It's like an ancient Jewish sect.
Okay.
From the tribes of Ephraim and Menashe.
All right. So they don't identify as Jewish, but they do identify as part of the people of Israel.
Yeah, they're basically like what if the Jews? They're basically what would have happened if the Jews split.
Right.
Like the two factions.
So you recognize that they're part of the ancient history of
Oh,
Israel.
absolutely. They are Israelites, and I wouldn't want them to die out or to assimilate into larger society, because that would be really would be pity. So that's basically what I think about when I.
Do you view Jews as being like what did you view about the Jewish people, how they're different from the rest of the world? Or let's just say Israelites, the people of
We're
Israel.
an ethno-religious group.
Okay.
So we do have ethnic markers, and we do have ethnic,
Genetic markers.
not just genetic markers, but
I think it just turned it off on it. No, I didn't. It's good.
oh, okay. So we do have like ethnic, what should I call it?
Characteristics.
Characteristics of an ethnic group.
And it's
But
not a
it is
homogeneous
rooted-
genetically, but like
Oh.
culturally and linguistically, there's
Yes, but in terms of, I think religion and the customs of Judaism is one of the main factors that
For sure.
keep it
Cohesive.
a group cohesive. That's why I think that we are basically losing Jewish population in the Western world when they assimilate into the larger society. So,
Sure.
I mean, American Jews, some of them, the secular ones,
That's the majority.
They consider themselves Jews, but I don't know in what sense I could consider
if their
them
parents died
Jews.
in the Holocaust or their great grandparents
Yeah.
died. That's about it.
You have 20 years and then another 20 years that pass.
And
Few
honestly-
generations, I don't think they're gonna be considered Jews anymore.
Honestly, that's
So-
no different from like Jehovah's Witnesses whose grandparents died in the Holocaust, or gay people who were killed in the Holocaust.
Right,
You
so
know,
I think that-
can't be the identity. That can't be the essence of your identity.
Yeah, so if some Jews in the West assimilate to the larger society, then I don't think their kids would be considered Jews, and if their kids will be considered Jews, and then their grandkids, as long as they do the same thing and assimilate further,
What do you feel
are not
about-
going to be considered Jews? So the Jewish people is, I think the Jewish people needs Israel just to reestablish itself as a nation.
To have a base, a found.
Yeah, not just a base.
And it
but
is the historical-
I think that we're going to end up being, the Israelis and the concept of an Israeli and the concept of a Jew are going to merge.
Well, that's what it should be. When they
21st
call up
century.
in synagogues all around the world, when they call someone up to read from the Torah, if they're not a Kohen or a Levite, All right, so the 7 people go up to read from the Torah. The first is a Kohen, the descendant of Aaron, brother of Moses. The second will be a Levite. All the other of the 7, they call them Israel. They call up in Israel. So Israeli and Jewish in ancient Jewish literature is synonymous,
I
basically.
think that unless Orthodox Jews are always going to stay, one of the part of the Jewish people because they're distinguished.
Right.
And that's what I think about, Jews outside of Israel. I mean, that's basically.
So what?
I'm not even judging. I'm just stating the obvious.
Right, as a whole.
Yeah.
So what do you feel about a non-Jew if a non-Jew wants to join the people of Israel? Would you look at him as like less part of the people, or how do you feel?
I don't think anyone does. Well,
You're talking about in your experience here in Israel.
Yeah, no, of course not. I mean, you can assimilate to Israeli society pretty fast. So if you have that, and you convert to Judaism the right way, the Orthodox way, then you become part of the Jewish people and indistinguishable.
So,
from the Jewish people. Because if you have an accent, if you speak a different language, it's still not rare.
plenty of Israelis who are Jews from birth who have accents.
So no
here.
one can tell.
Right.
So
But what if
that's
it's like,
the thing.
a fact of the matter is the majority of Jews, although there are varieties of like facial features and skin tone, but the majority of Jews are not super white or super black. So like if you have
Mediterranean,
right, most Jews look but like if you have a black person, he stands out.
or a Chinese.
So
like East Asian.
although some of the most extreme or most bigoted elements of the ultra orthodox might make an issue, but your opinion is that the majority of Israelis would not.
Yeah, especially the Zionist religious right has so many. They do not have any recognition of idot, what
Okay.
you say, of sex.
Sub-ethnic group.
Ethnicities.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I mean,
They
do not have
embrace
any-
everybody basically.
They do it unconsciously.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's been my experience also.
I mean, you can have within that society, it's a pretty huge
In
part
Israel,
of Orthodox society in
Yeah.
Israel. You have everything, and it's not even weird to anybody.
That's my experience also.
I mean, in terms of living in Israel or joining the Jewish people, I think it's not easy in terms of the religious aspect of it, and I would not change that. I think it should be very difficult in terms of the religious aspect of it, but in terms of the social aspect, well, people, Israeli people would embrace you. Getting assimilated into the culture is not very easy, especially if you're by yourself. But that's a different thing.
Yeah.
It's besides the if you don't come with a family unit, it is hard.
I'm gonna